Welcome to Get Your Bell Rung, a pro wrestling podcast. It is our Tuesday night episode where we recap Monday Night Raw. Tonight, of course, we are doing the recap of Monday Night Raw from December 22nd, which was last night. With me is WCW veteran, author of Looking Up at the Lights. I am talking about no one other than Mr. Robbie Ido. Also with us tonight, a co-host of Wrestling Memories. I am talking about the Grizzled Vet. Gentlemen, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
And I'm alive. Can't complain.
Alive and kicking, Michael.
I don't know about kicking, but I'm alive.
Okay.
I didn't realize I put the flu on my Christmas wish list, but here we are.
Just don't get us sick via screen, all right?
Yeah, right.
I'll try not to.
I got to go to work tomorrow. I got to.
Me too. I've been at work all week.
Now, I know from talking to you, Grizzled Vet, you said you want to be on the show tonight. You're sick, so you're off. Thanks for joining us. I always enjoy whenever you're with us. But you actually liked Raw last night. I got to be honest with you. And I was telling Robbie this before you joined us.
Oh, Lord.
Raw last night, if it was not on, right, I wouldn't have cared. I'm not saying it was a terrible show by any means. I'm just saying last night's episode didn't leave me with that feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm glad I actually caught this episode because it was so important because of all everything else that's happening in Raw with their storylines. Robbie, your thoughts on the show last night?
It was okay. I mean, it had its pluses, it had its minuses, but it wasn't a bad show. I liked it. It was okay.
Now, Grizzle, I got to be honest with you, man. When it came to the women last night, I'm not talking about the matches. I would never say a match was terrible because I've not earned that right. I'm not a professional wrestler. But the promos, I was like, didn't care at all. They left me with they didn't leave me with wanting more. Put it to you that way.
I said I had a couple issues and all that. You know,
Right.
Some of the promos with the women, that was one of them. I didn't say it was a perfect show. I said I enjoyed it.
Right. Let's get into it now. I will say this. At least Raw last night opened with a match. Although the match, sorry, I didn't care about it. It was fine. The performers were fine. Just wasn't invested in it. I could have taken a nap through this match and not missed it as far as I'm concerned. And of course, we're talking about Asuka versus Rhea Ripley. Now, in the beginning, before this match, and I lied, I guess we didn't start off with a match. We started off with what's a 2-minute little backstage promo, which is better than what normally they would do, 40 minutes of a promo. But they showed Rhea Ripley and Io Sky talking, and Rhea was like, I don't come out. You're injured. I'm paraphrasing, of course. You're injured. I can't protect you. Just don't come out. Guys, Io Sky, as good as she is in the ring, I'm sorry, her promos are terrible. She needs to go to acting school. She really does. My opinion. Grizzle, start off with you with that opening promo.
Well, my first thought on it, excuse me, that opening promo was how injured was she? Because this supposedly happened a week ago, and she's still holding her. I'm like, you might be okay. A little hard to believe that a week later and she's still like, oh, I'm so hurt. But
yeah,
so that was an issue. But at least like you said, it wasn't a 30-minute in-ring promo, which shocked me. I did like the match, though. I will give you that. I like the match that followed.
Right. Robbie?
Yeah, the you know what it is? It's just a language barrier, because I have read a report on, because she speaks broken English, she's not confident about doing her promos. So it's the language barrier. So I mean, they should let her at least say something in Japanese or whatever, like they do with Asuka
Right.
and like that, you know, kind of feel comfortable what you want, say, you know, your stuff in American, but also, you know, even if it's fluent, we don't know what the hell she's saying, it still come off a little bit better. But I have read a report that she's just still, you know, a little gun shy with when she has to go, you know, do her promos in completely Americanized.
And you know, it's not even her broken English that I have a problem with. Is actually more of her body language and the things that she does. Like she always has this look about her. She looks like my you know Stella Artois, my you know female Aussie. That if I scold her, she puts her head down and just has this look on her face. I swear to you, that's what Io reminds me of. It's her body language. She's either overly yay excited or just that poutiness, and it comes across terrible for myself. Mike, Grizzle, yes. Your thoughts on that? I mean, do you think her issue is more the broken language, or is it that, you know, it's just her body language isn't coming across the way it should during these promos?
I think it can be a language thing, but that's an issue with all of them. The AEW Japanese girls are the same way. They're not here enough to know their English is broken. Weird thing about her though is I met Io and Kairi Sane at a CAC. Oh God, it had to have been 2008, 2009. So we're talking like 15, 16 years ago. And they were over here in the States and all that. And it's still, she couldn't speak a lick of English really then either. You would think after this amount of time, you know, I mean, their command of language might get a little better, but I mean, it might be because mainly she resides in her home country and not here. But language is definitely an issue. And like I said, the AEW girls from Japan have the same problem.
Right. And to her defense, actually, from what I've been told, the English language is the most difficult to learn, especially here in the United States, because we don't speak properly. And so, just what I've been told. Robbie, what do you think about the match?
I liked the match. I thought it was good. You knew Io was coming down. You know, you knew she was going to come down. So, you know, no surprise there. But the match was good. I mean, you know, it served its purpose. My thinking is, and maybe correct me if you're wrong or think but when we've seen it all in the past, the way they keep putting Asuka and Kairi over them, it looks like when we get to the title defense that they're going to drop the belts.
That's what I was wondering as well.
That's what I'm kind of thinking. What I'm seeing is, you know, you're putting them over all the time, or they're coming out on top if they're not getting put over. And it looks, you know, if history plays right, they're going to drop the belts to them.
Grizzle, if they do that, do you think that's right? Do you think that's the right call? Because they haven't had the belts that long, and although they are already an established tag team, at the same time, doesn't that take away from the belts by having a tag team like Asuka and Kairi Sane basically hold it for a month, maybe two, and then just drop it?
Well, yeah, and that's been a problem with the women's tag belts all this time. It's gone from one team to the next. Nobody's really, to my knowledge, has had a long title reign with the ladies tag belts. Right. But, you know, it's the same way with any belt. I don't like to see a belt get dropped quickly. I like to see at least a 3 or 4 month reign before you drop it. Because if you feel they're confident enough in them to put the belts on them, you should be confident enough to keep the belts on them for a bit and not just hot shot them all over the place.
Yeah,
I agree with Robbie though. It's kind of setting it up though. You know, right. They're going over every time. So when the tag match happens, that's when Rhea and Io Sky are going to get their turn, and they're going to pin them and win the belts.
Right. I think that these belts in the women's division, because they're somewhat new, they need to have the same type of run that Gunther had with the IC title. Maybe, I'm not saying as long, but they need to have that lengthy run to add more value to that belt. Because if you go back to when Gunther had the IC belt for the amount of time he beat Honky Tonk Man's record, by the time Gunther had that IC belt really didn't have a whole lot of value to it anymore, just because it was the way it was treated, right? And since Gunther has had it, it added more prestige because of that long run that he had with it. So I think that these newer belts within the women's division, they need to have that type of run as well. Again, I'm not saying that's long as Gunther, but a 4 or 5 month run. Robbie?
Oh, I agree, but I have a feeling even if they do drop them to Kyrie and Rhea, I bet they don't keep them long either. I can either see you're going to put them back on Charlotte and Alexa, or you're going to put them on Liv and Roxanne, and then what about the two candy cane monsters there with Lance and Nia? So everybody's. If you look at all those teams, is it going to be like you said? It was just going to be a throw here, a throw there, because all these are your teams and none of them are really established, and we're going to give you. We'll give you a month run here. Okay, let's put it back over here and give Charlotte and Alexa, their month run, and now we're going to switch it over here. You hope they don't do that, but wouldn't surprise me if they do that.
Yeah. And you said Kyrie, I think you meant Io Sky.
Yeah.
So let's step away from Raw real quick. There's something that I want to talk to you guys about. Is regarding Triple H. Now, right now, it's a rumor, and these rumors have been flying for so long, but I want to address it because it's kind of ramped up again, saying that Triple H is set to step down as WWE creative head after controversial booking. As per Sports Bible, Triple H is planning to part ways with WWE following recent open criticism. Paul Levesque, a.k.a. Triple H, faced heavy backlash for booking the John Cena Gunther match. Look, and this is why I say it's rumors. I don't know if there's if what's being said is legit or not. I don't work for WWE, but why would Triple H be getting heat for the John Cena Gunther match the way it ended, when goddamn well John Cena had his hand in creative with this match? Start with you, Robbie. Do you think that this is something that's very possible that's happening, that Triple H is getting heat because of the fans' reactions, John Cena tapping out? Or do you think that, again, these rumors are just being circulated by basement dwelling?
Well, I would imagine he's getting heat from people because, like afterwards, the fans were outside all pissed off and stuff like that, bitching and complaining. But if he, just because of, him getting that heat like that, and he's talking about stepping down from that, he's got thin skin then, and I'm surprised at that. You can't make people happy. And that's, but Cena had a hand in how it was handled. And, wrestling fans, want to bitch and complain, and like you call them, what do you call the basement dweller?
Yeah, basement dweller, hot pocket eating. Yeah. But so the way I'm reading it, though, it almost sounds like he's being forced to make this decision.
But who would be making the only people I could see that are trying to, if that's the case, force him out would be like UFC that owns it, or maybe. TKO.
Now the article did also talk about how they also blame Triple H for the terrible storyline that involved John Cena and The Rock, right? Grizzle, your thoughts on this, man?
I think fans need to grow up. No, I don't think Triple H is sitting down. They're not expecting him to sit down. Basically, what happened was John Cena had his final match. It didn't go the way that the basement dwelling cheetah eaters wanted it to. So they had to wipe their fingers with, off so they don't stain their keyboards and get on there and say all their comments. But John Cena never did a dab down. That wasn't right. John Cena wouldn't give up. He never would. Never, never, never. John Cena's our hero. Triple H is a bad guy. That's exactly how I think they sound. It's ridiculous. And like Robbie said, if Triple H is backing off because of that, yeah, he's awfully thin-skinned. It's just, you're not going to satisfy everybody. In the case of John Cena, I don't think they satisfied half the people because they were the ones that were like, everybody was chanting this bullshit after the match was over, but then they were applauding, "Thank you, Cena." It's like it flip flops. It's weird. I thought the ending of that match was perfect. Now the heel turn, okay, I would give somebody some shit for booking that heel turn because that was fucking awful.
Yes,
right.
I never understood that in the least.
Yeah, Terry, faithful watcher, man. I appreciate that. John booked his own match. He also said that Triple H is much better than Vince. Of course, talking about Vince McMahon. I think personally, say the rumors are true. Say Triple H is being forced to step down. Say this happens. This would be the fuckest dumbest move by TKO or whoever's behind it, because you can bet your ass where Triple H is going to go and where he would make a massive impact. He would show up at AEW, because for Triple H to show up at AEW just out of spite for what the powers that be, forced him to step down. If this is something that's really happening, that would shake the wrestling world, and eyes would truly turn to AEW just to see what the fuck is going to happen. Do you guys agree with that or no? Because he has to go somewhere. Where else is there for him to go? He can't get back in the ring and compete on the indies. Tony Khan would scoop his ass up in a second.
Totally. I mean, and you could see, and I'm going to say this, and not, but if they forced him out, he would be definitely going to AEW, and he would be. I'm gonna probably, the word I'm saying is not the right word that I'm looking for, so correct me on this. But okay, if he got forced out, I would think he would just be petty enough to go, "Fuck you guys, I'm going to AEW, and now I'm gonna fuck you over for you fucking me over." And I honestly think that would be his mindset.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. Grizzle?
You just had a comment pop up on the screen there there you go.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah. I agree with that more than anything. I don't see Triple H going to, no. He's not going to go to AEW. I don't see that happening.
I don't think he would go there thinking, "Oh my gosh, this is a great opportunity," or "This is going to help my career." Right. I truly would see him going there out of spite.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for, spite.
Spite.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
And also, I don't see them forcing him out either. Though.
I don't either, because I have to believe that those that are in charge of WWE, talk about the bosses, the couple of bosses, of that many that are over Triple H, is smarter than that. Now there's also a possibility that he could try to go with TNA if that happens, but I think TNA is too involved with WWE for them to do that. I personally think that it would be AEW. I think that, yes, there's a possibility that afterwards, at a certain point, Triple H would be like, "Yeah, I'm going to start my own company." But
I wouldn't see that, like, if just saying, let's just play devil's advocate, and they do release or make them step down. To start, you've got to look at cost-wise, production-wise, everything that it's going to take. Do you want to put that kind of money in it, or, now you got to find backers and all that. So do you want to put it? I could see that happening down the road maybe, but, I also think that if he was forced to step down, he's taking his buddy Shawn with him too. Shawn Michaels is going to go with him.
Yeah, and I think that it's more than just, as far as money goes. I think it would definitely have the money as far as promotion. I think the biggest obstacle would be him getting a television deal with someone, because if you think about it, WWE, as far as streaming services, they got most of your streaming services locked down. Then
Right.
there's AEW with Warner Brothers that's going away, and but whatever happens with them with HBO, I think that would be the biggest obstacle if he starts his own company, is actually getting someone to put him on air. Grizzle, or do you think that nope, he has enough stroke that he wouldn't have a problem at all?
I was just gonna say I was gonna throw some in there just to stir the pot a little bit.
Yeah.
You're saying AEW or start his own company. What if he just decided to make a phone call and say, "Hey, Billy, you have a company. Let me invest in that company."
NWA.
And the NWA.
That would be
Just a
awesome,
thought.
actually.
I
would
very
love
highly
that.
unlikely, but hey, it's already an established company. Triple H could just go, "I got some money. I know what I'm doing.
Right,
Let's
right.
do this."
And again, this is speculation. I think these are all rumors. Let me repeat that. I think these are all rumors. We're playing devil's advocate, though. Just in, what if? And I would love that. I'm a huge fan of NWA. I think that would be awesome as well, Robbie.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely go after it. You may take some people with you, or people from AEW or other companies. Question for you on that. So, say we're playing devil's advocate and stuff like that. Who in that company, though, say he steps down? Who in WWE do you think that they would put in his place? That would be the shot caller then.
So I
Some
can tell
monkey
you,
in the suit,
Well,
whoever TKO puts in there.
right. There's been a lot of, again, all rumors that Cody Rhodes has showed interest in one day, I'm not saying now, but
Right.
one day stepping in that role. I don't think it would happen now. I think Cody Rhodes is still very much invested, being inside of the ring, doing what he's doing now. But yeah, as Grizzlevet said, I think if that did happen, it would literally be some suit guy. And I think that if TKO isn't careful about that, that could hurt WWE, because we've seen in the past what happened when they put guys in suits who weren't wrestling people in those positions, aka your company, WCW.
I was
right,
gonna say Robbie should know very well about a guy who ran a pizza parlor.
right.
Yeah, 100%. But again, fans, in case you're just joining in and catching this conversation, we are not saying this is happening. I think all three of us agree that these are just rumors. These are all about freaking basement dwellers that are eating Cheetos or Hot Pockets, crying over them not getting their way because they're a bunch of entitled pieces of shit. I don't consider them real wrestling fans. I think
Tell us
there
how
are
you truly
people
feel.
who actually sit in their little chairs watching TV, dreaming and wetting themselves about running a wrestling company or having something they want to have. They want to be in control. They want to control the narratives. I don't think it's the case. Terry also said, please don't use Cody. We will never see the end of Cody versus Drew. Touche, my friend. Let's get back into this. The next segment. Sorry, guys. Again, I wasn't crazy. I am not yet invested in this guy. I'm going to tell you that although he's decent in the ring, his character just bugs the fuck out of me. Javon Evans. He chatted with General Manager Adam Pearce, who wished him luck in his next match and mentioned wanting to discuss his future on the main roster. I'm curious to see which direction they're going to go with Javon Evans. Are they going to put him on Raw? Will we see him on? I can only imagine that either this coming Friday or once they go back to live, or SmackDown goes back to being live, that we're going to see Javon Evans on SmackDown. Similar conversation with Nick Aldis to kind of draw us into the storyline. Where will Javon Evans land on the main roster? Grizzle Vet.
I like Javon Evans. We've already had this discussion before. This match coming up is actually one of my favorite matches on the show. Although I can't remember which one is Rayo. Rayo Americano is who?
He's the
Which one is he?
smallest one.
I know, but who is that? Is it Dunn or
It's not
or
it's definitely not Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne has a much better physical shape.
Well, it's obviously we all know it's Ludwig Kaiser, Pete Dunne, and Pete Dunne's tag part Trent, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but I can't remember which one's Rayo Americano. I don't know who's who. Tyler Bate.
Yeah, Tyler Bate. I think that may be Tyler. I'm not sure. Now I'm going to tell you what confused me a little bit about this, and it shouldn't have, because I know better about believing things that I read, but it just came out that during Rey Mysterio's tag team match, can't remember whose tag team partner was, against Rey and Americano at a AAA event. I think it was AAA. The match kind of went a little sideways. Rey got the victory, but at the end of the match, Dirty Dom pushed Americano, blamed him for the loss, and Rey Mysterio and Americano, and this was verified, this happened, they shook hands, leaving a lot of people believe that we now have a babyface Americano, but that's not the case last night, as we seen them very heel-like try to interfere in the match to distract the referee. Just throwing that out there. But Robbie, what did you think about this match? Look, this is my problem. I'm not involved. I'm not invested in Javon Evans yet. Again, he did much better last night than he has previously on the main roster as far as being in the ring. His character kind of irks me a little bit, but I'm definitely not invested in Ray, whatever his name is, for the Americano group. And I'm jumping ahead. We didn't got to the match yet, but since Grizzo brought it up, might as well talk about it now. Because of that, Rayo Americano, it left me not caring about this match whatsoever. Robbie?
I like Javon. I think the kid's good. I think part of it is he's young, maybe, and he's still trying to adjust to the roster, the bring up, maybe the larger crowd. The one part in the match that I had an issue with, and if you go back and watch it, if you missed it, he threw a kick and you could see it miss him, and Rayo sold it. I mean, he definitely missed him by like this much or whatever. And you could, if you were watching, you saw it, and he sold it. That didn't help the match in there. But as far as, I like Javon. I think the kid's very athletic. I think he's very talented and stuff, just for as young as he is. I mean, I don't have an issue with him. I think he's good. Is he ready to be brought up? Is he ready to handle that? That's hard to say. Right.
Going back to you, Grizzo, again, this match, we kind of got a little bit out of order, but since you brought it up, I was going to talk about it. I think my big thing with Javon Evans is that his character, I know people describe his character as being, exciting. He's enthusiastic. He comes across as being very immature. And I think that's what draws me, away from really investing in him right now. I'm sure that because of how good in the ring that he is, I'm going to get drawn into him, because going to AEW with B-Ball Mike Bailey, didn't like the guy at all whatsoever, but he's so damn good. I had no choice but to be drawn in to both him and Kevin Knight, getting invested in them. So I'm sure over time this will happen with Javon Evans. I'm not there yet, though. Talk to me about the match, and talk to me about, do you not find his character to be a little bit immature?
I think he's young, but he's extremely talented and extremely gifted at what he does. So I think kind of once he gets his footing and kind of, gets that style right, he's going to be one of the better. He's going to be one of the best ones. As far as this match goes, like I said, this is one of my favorite matches of the night. I did see the kick that Robbie was talking about, but it wasn't enough for me to go, oh, it ruined the match. But then again, I'm not a wrestler, so I don't see it the way Robbie would. To your point, though, you brought up Rayo Americano. and that El Grande was shaking the hands for like the face thing, right? Okay. That was at AAA. It was Rey Mysterio and Rey Fenix versus Dominic and El Grande Americano at that particular day Titanus, whatever, a AAA show. That AAA show was live. Raw was taped previous.
Oh, good
so point. It threw off, and I'm going to bring this point up again in a little bit later on in this review. It throws everything off. The way they're doing the holiday schedule this year is throwing off their TV. If you're going to tape that much TV, don't do a freaking live event in the middle of it.
Right.
It threw off their TV, and I'll get to that point again when it comes up to how it threw off their TV. So yeah, they're being heelish, but yet the day before, Grande Americano was shaking hands. Well, yeah, but he shook hands after this show was recorded, but before we're watching it now.
Yeah. And let me say something real quick. And then after I'm going to ask people to subscribe to the podcast after I shit on them. Look, I understand as a wrestling fan, you're excited when you go to these matches, but you know that it's pre-taped. Stop being fucking shitheads and putting spoilers all over. It drives me insane. And I'm not going to even talk about the spoilers because some people may have been lucky enough to have yet come across them, but tune into SmackDown Friday night because there's some very important things that's going to happen on SmackDown. Unfortunately, because of all three of us, because of what we do, we try to stay informed, latest wrestling news and stuff like that. So, the spoilers are out there. It's spoiled, and I'm still going to watch it. I'm still interested in watching it, but still, I would prefer to be surprised. Stop being fucking shitheads. Stop fucking posting videos if you know that it's fucking pre-taped. Now, please subscribe to the
podcast. We can review Friday Night SmackDown right now.
Yeah, we literally.
I'd be no help because I haven't seen any of the spoilers.
Good, don't.
Lucky.
I tell you, avoid it because there's some things that's going to happen that you're going to be like, oh, this is cool. This is, possibly could be awesome even.
Right.
I'm glad it hasn't been spoiled. Yeah.
I'm gonna it same thing. I have one of my friends that he went to the AEW tapings. So he went to the Collision and Dynamite.
Right.
So Saturday and Sunday, I guess they taped their Wednesday and Friday night show or Saturday show. And he was talking about it. He goes, this one sucked. This one was amazing. I'm like, do not tell me anything about it. I don't want to know any spoilers. And he was like, but I go, I don't want to hear it. I want to be able to watch it. I don't want to hear anything.
See, now I feel bad about that because I posted that thing on our group page. I said, hey, Robbie, you might like this. And it was that Mercedes lost the belt. I didn't realize that was on the Collision show that hadn't aired yet. That
Grizzle, hold on. This is what I was about to get to. Look, there are some people who, honest to God, didn't mean it as a spoiler, right? It was an innocent mistake that they did. That's forgiven. I get it. I really do. But there are a lot of these idiots out there who purposely go out of their way to spoil things for people because they're pieces of fucking shit. And those are the people that I'm talking about. And again, even you pieces of shit that I'm talking about, please subscribe to the podcast and support us.
There you go. Now, see, to the websites, though, that posted those spoilers, and a lot of them did. We've seen it on 411 Mania and all that. They actually put in the headline, WWE SmackDown spoiler. If you click on it, you fucking know they're spoiling the results.
Absolutely.
But the fans, that are posted, like you said, one of the things Robbie hasn't seen yet, we just finished a SmackDown review. I sat down in my chair. I opened up my phone, and the first thing I saw was, okay, well, we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah. Drives me nuts. Now, where we were supposed to be going with the next segment after Javon Evans was the Women's World Champion Stephanie Vaquera approached Pierce and requested a triple threat match against Raquel Rodriguez and Nikki Bella for the following week, which Pierce granted. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. Again, I don't care. I don't care about Raquel. I don't care about Nikki Bella. I just don't care. I'm sure it's going to be a good match. I'm not saying that it won't be a good match. I'm sure it's going to be entertaining for those who are invested into this storyline. I am not, though. Grizzled, are you chomping at the bits, excited to watch this match next week?
Well, no, because isn't Nikki Bella in it? Yeah, I'm not a Nikki Bella. Nope. Right. But yeah, no, like you said earlier, all the women's promos just really fell flat last night.
Yeah.
And this was one of them. You know, oh, who do you want to? I want to defend it against both of them. Okay, triple threat match. Here you go. Right. All right, that was easy. Yeah. You know, it just they fell flat. There wasn't anything. You know, even the one coming up later that actually had some action involved in it kind of fell flat.
Right. You know, and this is the Adam Pierce. We're friends on social media. So by the off chance he watches this, sir, I love you. I think you're a great person. But there's something you do during these segments that drives me absolutely batty for whatever reason, is the constant glasses off, on, off, on. And he uses it, though, in a way that's it's expressive. It just may be me. I may just be that petty asshole that it bothers, right? But it draws me a little goofy. Robbie, your thoughts of this promo, man? And also, same question to Grizzle. Is this a match that you are just chomping at the bits, counting the seconds, the hours, the days away before next week, Monday Night Raw, this triple threat match?
I like Stephanie. I think, you know, definitely I'm not a Nikki fan and I'm not a Raquel fan. I think they need to, and I don't know that you could even do it. And I think we've talked about it in other shows. I don't know you can repackage Raquel anymore. I think Raquel has lost her lackluster. I mean, she's just there now. You know, I mean, she's almost like, you know, it's like nobody cares. So, right. I mean, it's not something I'm looking forward to. I think you could have put somebody else better with Stephanie.
Right.
Raquel's the monster heel that they're wanting Jade Cargill to be.
Right.
That's what Raquel should be. She should be the monster heel they're trying to push Jade Cargill to be.
Right.
Because Raquel is just, her size and all that is just beautiful.
Right. But they've done that. They pushed her, but she falls flat. And they don't give her the run or whatever. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I didn't, you know, but they've tried and they just don't. Either it loses steam or creative just loses her.
Right. You know, I'll talk about Nikki Bella for a second, because all three of us, we didn't shit her in a way that was harsh, but we're all three kind of like we just don't care about Nikki. Look, Nikki Bella is 100% a Hall of Famer. I think rightfully deserved. She is a legend, rightfully deserved. And in her own way, her and her sister are considered trailblazers, rightfully deserved. But unfortunately, Nikki Bella, and we talked about this, I think, last week, she was more part of that look at me era. You know, I'm a trophy person more than an actual professional wrestler. Unlike your Trish Stratus's or your Lita's, who were the professional wrestlers, right? Nikki Bella was 100% sports entertainment, in my opinion. And because of that, I think that she sticks out like a sore thumb in this division. And I think this is why the fans aren't taking to her. We aren't taking to her. So it's no disrespect to Nikki Bella. You know, Grizzle, your thoughts on what I just said, man?
I'm just flat not a Nikki Bella person. Even when they first showed up, the Bella twins, they were doing twin magic. I'm like, okay, whichever. I'm just not a Nikki Bella person. I wasn't a Brie Bella person either. You know, it just kind of, they came along at that time where they were giving all these little cute model girls their spots in the ring, and it's just not so. And now they try to push her to this Hall of Famer talent and everything else, and you know, they're weird father-in-law shit and everything else. But yeah, I'm just not a Nikki fan.
Yeah, Robbie, I don't know if you remember back in the day, the cartoons, the Super Friends, and there were the Wonder Twins, where they went,
I love the Wonder Twins.
And I swear to God, back in the day when Nikki Bella and her sister were wrestling, I kept on waiting for them to do that. Wonder Power. That's how cheesy.
I might have liked that. That might have been fun. Who knows?
Not in real life though. It's just, I agree. I've never been a Bella fan.
I haven't been. They've done some cool stuff, but and I think part of the other, correct me if I'm wrong, I agree with you. Like you said, the trophy, look at me. Yes, for the era and stuff like that. And now, even more so than the Trishas, the Litas and stuff, you look at what the women are doing now. So like Charlotte kind of Flair, when she brought it in, how she came, and now everybody's like upping the ante there. So look at Tiffany Stratton, look at Sol Ruca. You've got half the roster NXT and some of the other girls, that these girls are doing stuff that you would have never thought that women could do, and I think now taking Bella at this stage of her career and trying to put her in with some of these women that are so advanced with the technique and stuff, she just doesn't, she's kind of out of her league.
Right.
I'm not saying she's, not trying to, like you say, shit on her or anything, but these women are just pulling moves, that you would have never thought women could pull to do and stuff. And I think it's just Bella that didn't happen in her era. And now you're bringing her in later in her career. And these women are just, so far up the ladder that it's, she just can't hang with them.
Right. Terry says that there's too much good talent to be using Nikki, and I agree.
God damn right there is. Jesus.
You brought up, Charlotte. Look, this women's division, more so back when Charlotte was just getting started. Look, they fought hard to get rid of the fucking Divas title and actually bring in a women's world championship, right? And I think that when you look at Nikki Bella, you're reminded, like, she was from that Divas title era that, and it's just, she doesn't fit in my opinion. So next we go to Vignette Air promoting the Usos return to the tag team division and their title match against AJ Styles and Dragon Lee next week. Guys, I'm going to tell you that I am predicting right now that AJ Styles and Dragon Lee is going to drop those titles to the Usos next week. Start with you, Robbie.
Oh, they are.
I hope not.
I agree with you.
I hope not.
I agree with you.
I hope not. But probably to give the Usos another run,
I tell you why I think that they're one of the reasons, at least, why they're going to do it. We are on the cusp of starting AJ Styles' final year, 2026, right? And I think that not all of the reasons, but one of the reasons, in my opinion, is because they want AJ Styles to get back to being that singles competitor so he can start that year's run that he's going to be on retiring as, AJ Styles, one of the great ones. Go ahead, Robbie.
Here's a question for you about that.
Go ahead.
If AJ gets his retirement run with the way storylines are going right now, do you see Gunther getting another retirement match?
Yes. I was going to say, you're going to see.
They are setting that up that he is going to face. And I'm like, is Gunther going to get another retirement match?
Right.
Is that going to be his gimmick? He just retires everybody.
Right. And which is funny because we've talked about that in previous shows. They've all are announcing their retirement and they're going, he retired them. No, he didn't, because they announced their retirement at the beginning of the year. But you can see that coming. I totally agree with you.
Now, I tell you, I don't know if you guys seen this or not, or shit, one of you guys might have sent it. I don't remember who sent it to me. And I don't know how true it's, because it was right before the show that I read this, so I didn't have time to go investigate it. But it is being said that Jerry the King and Lawler is saying he has one more fight left in him, and he wants it to be against Gunther for that retirement match. Official.
I would never want to see that.
No, I don't either. I mean, talking about
God, oh God, I would not want to see that. That would be horrible.
He's had multiple strokes now. Nothing
He's
against
colorblind now.
Yes, he is. And look, he is a legend. He is absolutely one of the best. So it's nothing against Jerry the King Lawler. The fact of the matter is that I don't want to see him die in the ring. And I'm just being fucking honest. Grizzle.
I don't want to see him die in the ring either. But also, he's, 70-something years old. Gunther's like in his, 30s? Half his age? Right. That is a bad, even it's just a bad matchup. Just now, I don't want to see that. If there was a tag match or something where you could kind of cover up shit like they did with Ric Flair's final match, as garbage as that was, maybe, but no, I think Lawler's just spitting out Gunther's name because Gunther's, the hot thing right now. But a Lawler versus Gunther match, one, would be, like you said, dangerous for his health. And two, it's not going to be a good match.
Right. Look, if it has to happen, if Jerry the King Lawler, if this is true, and he's that damn determined to have one more match, you just brought up the name, that'd be against Ric Flair. Because
oh God,
they'll just wear themselves out in 30 seconds. It'll be done with. Robbie,
dude, I know what you could do. They have those like heart monitors that have like the Wi-Fi thing, so you have the wires. You attach them to their chest, and you just wait until the heartbeat goes. There's your winner. Just wait till one flatlines. Okay, there's a winner right there.
Robbie, as a professional wrestler, I have to believe that professional wrestlers, they know when they just shouldn't be in the ring anymore. Not only is it dangerous for them, it could even be dangerous for their opponent, right?
Right.
Jerry the King Lawler is absolutely one of the best. He is absolutely a legend. And again, I don't know if this is just rumors or this is a fact. I didn't have time to go investigate this. Do you really think that Jerry the King Lawler would want to do that to his legacy?
I would hope not. I would hope not. The health issues and stuff that he had, not that, definitely going against Gunther, that would not be a good thing. Here's the problem, and I guess you can throw me in there too, because I know when I'm like I said, I know I'm running on fumes with me doing the little indie shit that I'm doing. But I don't have a legacy like Jerry Lawler. I was never that guy. So, maybe on the indie circuit I was, but not in WCW or any other of the things. So why you would want to do that, you have to know. But you see it in like a lot of sports. A lot of us just don't know when to walk away, unfortunately. It's just you miss the crowd, you miss that attention, you miss whatever, but it's, and you go, I can still do this when you really can't, I don't know. It's just, are you missing the attention or whatever? You would think that he wouldn't, because, okay, you want that attention, go to the grocery store, people are going to recognize you and come and talk to you, go to the bar, go wherever.
He's all about that grocery store now.
Hey, I can tell you a grocery store story there, you kind of get a kick out of it.
Well, Robbie, first off, stop selling yourself short. And, this is something I actually even told my wife not long after I read your book and after we did the interview, that you sell yourself short, because I honestly believe that the biggest thing that went against you was that you didn't start your wrestling career 10 years later. I think you're 10 years too soon. I think that if you would have started 5 to 10 years later, that Robbie Idol would have been that big name on the stage because of ECW. And I think you would have went on beyond that. You probably wouldn't be on this podcast right now. You'd be too big, your name. Um,
I appreciate the kind words. I thank you for that. I've had a couple other people that said that had I known you back then and I would have took you to different territories, I think you would have been, you know, a bigger star. And I appreciate all that. You know, I mean, I'm not trying to sell myself.
oh, I know you're not.
On like talent and stuff. And I've had people say, you know, what you did being the enhancement guy, that takes a lot to do, knowing that this is what you do and you're putting people over. Hey, it was my job and I took pride in that. And, you know, I was, like I said, and it said it in the book, I was a big part of that. And I'm very appreciative of that. So, you know I had talent and stuff like that, but I kind of know my place. But it is funny, like hearing like you guys and other people telling me you were well known more so than what I thought I was well known, known for.
Right. Terry says, who in their right mind would clear Kim Terrell? Of course, going back talking about Jerry Lawler. Yeah, that's a good question. Next we go to Becky Lynch cutting an in-ring promo leading to a confrontation with Women's Intercontinental Champion Maxxine Dupri. Maxxine forced Lynch to tap out to an ankle lock, standing tall despite Lynch trying to steal her title belt earlier. Guys, I'm going to be brutally honest. I had started to get invest into Maxxine because of these vignettes. Unfortunately, because of the way they've booked the couple of matches that I've seen her in since these vignettes, they're losing me. She looks much more of a badass in these vignettes versus these matches that she has done. There's such a difference in her in these vignettes and then seeing her wrestle. And I don't understand why the life of me, WCW would create these amazing vignettes, making her look like $1 million, and then book her in the type of a match where she just doesn't. Grizzle?
Well, vignettes you can make shit look like Dubai chocolate with a vignette, but I mean,
right, but
that's a harsh. I'm just saying.
Right, but I'm just saying
they can produce better vignette,
matches,
but no, I agree with you.
Yeah, they can book these matches with
they
can book these matches with local talent, as we always complain about, for a while to sell Maxxine as being this new improved female wrestler that is someone to be dealt with. But they just haven't did it. Go ahead.
It doesn't even have to be local wrestlers. With Evolve and everything else, there's so many indie girls they can use that can work. But it's not. But yeah, the vignettes make her look badass, then she gets in the ring and she's not. And once again, this is one of those promo things between her and Becky that just kind of made me go, bleh. I didn't really enjoy anything that the women did tonight.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Terry says you can either work or you can't. And look, this is the thing. I think Maxxine can work. We've seen her in one of those Becky Lynch matches that she had. She looked amazing. Or am I wrong? Was it Becky Lynch that made Maxxine Dupri?
I was just going to say, Becky Lynch can make her look amazing because, Becky Lynch can have a match with a broomstick. We forget she's one of the 3 women that were main evented WrestleMania for the first time ever. Becky Lynch is a Hall of Famer. That's a guarantee. She's going to be in there someday, and she deserves it. She's good at what she does. She's going to make Maxxine look like $1 million because she doesn't want to lose to someone and people go, God, that girl looks like shit. How did she beat you? Because that just makes Becky look bad.
Right. Robbie, here's a question for you. If this is the case, WWE decided to give Maxxine a little bit of push, create these amazing vignettes. And it's not that they're booking her correctly, these matches. It's that she's just not working properly in these matches. The only reason she got over was because Becky Lynch did make her look great. And if that is the case, how long before you think WWE is going to force her to drop that title back to Becky Lynch or someone else for that matter?
If that's the case, I would think you're going to do it soon then. If she's just not, going where they wanted her to go, or thinking that she's come along that she has. I would think they'd take it off of her soon then. So if Becky made her look good, I mean, now you're putting with other people and she's not looking like you had hoped she was, or didn't advance to where you wanted her to be. They're not gonna. I don't see them keeping her for long. Then then they'll just go back to what they did. Look at how they tried to push. We'll go back a ways. Eva Marie, and they sent her to work with whoever out in Texas or whatever, and she just could never get it. She had the look and everything, and was okay on the mic, but just could not get the in ring. Just couldn't put it together. So right. Is Maxxine another Eva Marie?
That's a good question. Terry thinks that she may drop at the next pay-per-view. Robbie and Grizzle, this is a question for both of you. Start with you, Grizzle. If that is the case, if Maxxine is just not performing up to the level that WWE thought that she would, they take the title off of her. Do you think that she's going to get lost in catering? Do you think that WWE is going to invest more time to give her an opportunity to come up to the level that she's supposed to be? Or look, WrestleMania is only 4 months away at this point. We all know that is WWE's new fiscal year. Do you think that this is Maxxine Dupri's chance? And if she doesn't deliver, once they start cutting people the day after WrestleMania, do you think that she'll be in danger of being?
She could easily be one of the ones they consider. As far as when she could lose back to Becky, is the rematch next week or the first Raw or the anniversary Raw in January? Which one is it? Because she has a rematch. She has a rematch
right
with Becky, whatever, on one of those Raws.
Right.
If anything, that's when she's going to hand it back to Becky. Yeah. After that, the rate she's going, I see her going back to, Alpha Academy and just being comedy material with Tozawa and Otis. And then come WrestleMania, they might just go, yeah, we don't need all this comedy material. And they might just cut all three of them. I mean, what do they do nowadays besides just kind of show up and do funny stuff?
Yeah, that's a good question. Robbie, as a professional wrestler, in your experience, how long do you think a big promotion like a WWE, or how much do you think they will invest in someone like Maxxine if they see that she's just not cutting it on this big push that they're giving her right now?
I don't think they're gonna. That you got too many people behind her. So you think of think how the women's division now. You got Evolve, you got NXT. You can pull from TNA. You've got all your resources. So I don't think if she's not working out, I don't think they're going to invest time, because you got too many people that you can go, hey, we can pull Sol Ruka up and put her in her place, and Sol will handle this. She's already, Sol has proved that. There's other people down there that you can pull from there. So I just think there's too many people. Like we've talked, that roster is so big. They've got so many people that are there. I think back in the day where you can get a little bit more of an opportunity where, they're kind of over, but they're not doing what we want them to do. But because they're over, let's see if we can push them a little bit further and get more mileage out of them. I don't think you have that nowadays.
Right. Next was the Javon Evans against Rayo Americano, which we already talked about. Javon Evans did defeat Rayo Americano. Next, another promo women's division that fell flat. Nikki Bella delivered an in-ring promo asserting her legacy and entitlement to the world title opportunity. And again, it fell flat. And the audience didn't care. I didn't care. And I think it's probably a safe bet for me to say that neither you, Grizzle, or Robbie cared at all. Grizzle?
Oh, pull the Bob Cook card, I'll say she looked hot when she went out there. I'll give her that. She's a gorgeous woman, but other than that, no. My legacy, I'm like, oh my God, no, you have no legacy. Your legacy is about as big as like, Tori Wilson and Stacy Keibler and all them, You are a Divas division wrestler.
Yeah. Robbie?
Well, I'm going to disagree with Vet on one. I mean, I give her a little bit more credit than Stacy Keibler. So
okay, maybe Stacy was a little bit.
Yeah, she gets at least Nikki can work some, All
right, I'll give you that.
The only person that cared about that thing was Corey Graves. There was a point in time when I had to just like mute him because I couldn't take him anymore. He annoys me, so I had to mute him at a couple times. But he was the only person I think out of that whole segment that gave a shit, because he was like talking her up unless they made him talk her up. So
I knew what I bet they made him talk her up. Next was the match that. Sorry, again, Bayley against Roxanne Perez. Bayley did defeat Roxanne Perez. The part that just drove me nuts, and to me, it just adds more of the confusion of them trying to push something that I just don't think is working, is when Lyra slapped the shit out of Bayley to draw in her other personality, I guess. Driving Bayley to become more aggressive. Chris, what are you into this, man? Is the storyline working for you?
Well, the storyline isn't working for me, but I enjoyed the match. I didn't mind the match. I liked the match. My only problem with it is, Roxanne's out there, and then Liv's out there, and Raquel's out there, and there's just too many women on the outside. You got Lyra out there. I was getting confused as to who was doing what with who and when and where and why. It was too much outside stuff with all the different girls. I didn't mind the finish of it, though, when Lyra smacked Bayley, and then all of a sudden she just kind of got the look in her eyes. I'm like, oh, okay, Becky going to go. And she got finished. I don't mind it. Is it silly? Yeah. But, I mean, we've seen sillier storylines. But, match-wise, it was decent.
Yeah,
I didn't mind that. There was just too much outside stuff with all the other girls, and we'll get to that with another famous promo that's coming up here in a minute.
Yep, Robbie.
I didn't mind the match. I mean, I thought it was decent with Roxanne and Bayley, but the question is where are they going to go with the two? What are they going to do with these storylines? What you're saying with Bayley, are we going to continue this? Is what we're going to do with Bayley? Hey, we got to slap her to make her, this Bayley. But they also kind of hinted at it. Are they going to just drop it? Or are they going to continue it? Because where they did with the thing with Raquel and all of them feuding in the back, are they going to kind of now separate Raquel from the Judgment Day? Because, unless I'm jumping ahead here, but what they did in the back, they argued about it and stuff. Are we going to just next week drop it and nothing becomes of it? I mean, there's a storyline now. You could separate Raquel from the Judgment Day, but are you going to continue that storyline, or are we going to drop it like they've done in the past?
Right. And let's talk about a couple of backstage segments that for whatever reason I didn't jot down. One, since we're talking about Raquel, let's talk about that backstage segment between the Judgment Day. That definitely looks like that there is some heat between Judgment Day and Raquel. Now, what really surprised me about that was before your girl left injured. What's her name again?
Yeah.
Dom's girlfriend.
Oh, Liv.
Yeah, before Liv left with her injury, the storyline originally started where Liv and Roxanne Perez had some heat between them. Liv got injured. She was gone. She comes back. Well, it looks like they decided that we're not going to go that direction, because now it looks like that Roxanne and Liv and Dom and the rest of the guys with Judgment Day have an issue with Raquel. So do you think that Raquel's going to be pushed to a babyface at this point with Judgment Day turning on her? Robbie, start with you.
I mean, if they continue, I mean, you could see it, but because you had the feud where Raquel goes, well, where were you two last week? You didn't come out and save me. And Liv going, you told us not to. And, then Liv goes, okay, we should have been out there. Are they going to kind of push that envelope, or are we going to drop the ball and just kind of walk away from it again?
Right, because they keep on teasing. They've been for a very long time of Judgment Day breaking up. I guess the bigger question, Grizzle, is this. Regardless if they turn Raquel and she becomes a babyface or not, do you and the rest of the fans really give a shit?
Okay, this is one of those promos that also leads to an issue that I brought up earlier in our show here. You got the girls back there. They're, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You got Finn back there. You got Dom back there. JD's obviously gone because, as we know through social media, he's kind of had to have a surgery. They have not acknowledged this, though. JD's just not there. But Dom's back there, got both his belts looking all fine. With a report that the night before this show aired at that live AAA show, Dominic suffered a shoulder injury. So he might not even be on the... So as far as this backstage segment goes, honestly, you can't tell me they can't do it with their wizardry they have. This promo should have been cut because it makes no sense to have Dominic back there with everybody when he could possibly come out next week. Oh, I'm hurt. How are you hurt? You were on the show last week and you were fine. Oh, wait. Yeah, no, you were hurt at the show that happened before. Forget it. This promo shouldn't have aired. They should have just cut it because it doesn't make sense knowing that Dom may have a shoulder injury. He may not. So what's Judgment Day going to be? 10 and 3 girls? Where are they going to go with it? Knowing that there could be a possible injury, I would have edited this segment, cut the time, and then figured it out from there what to do after we know more about what's going on with Dominic. Because like I said, right now, Judgment Day may be the 3 girls bitching with each other and Finn just going, where'd everybody go?
Right. Terry says WWE needs writers that were workers. I agree. Now, going to your point, Grizzle, and Robbie, you can answer this question too. As we talked about throughout this podcast tonight, there's some things that's happening at live events that doesn't match up to WWE Monday Night Raw because it being pre-taped. Would it hurt the show at the beginning of Raw if they had some type of something on the screen stating that because of the holidays, because of our, guys want to spend time with their family, this has been pre-taped. Due to live events, things may not necessarily be as, it seems on tonight's Raw. Would that make more sense?
Spencer Christian is now played by?
Right. Yeah. I mean, do you think that would hurt Raw if they did that? Because, I mean, things did seem just completely out of whack.
I don't think it would hurt. I think most of the fans probably already know because, as you said, results for these shows were everywhere. So, but, no, I don't think it would hurt, especially when there's somebody's legit injured. Dominic might be out for a while. So these events were pre-taped, before the events of whatever, or before a show, blah, 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 blah. So that way it makes a little more if they have to air, but I don't think they had to air it. They could have just cut it, edited it, just cut it out, But once again, it's that whole thing that happened on NXT last week with Blake Monroe and Thea Hale. Oops, something happened. Crap, we have all this shit pre-taped because we're not going to be here for weeks. God damn it. And every show's been kind of hit with that this run.
Right. Robbie?
Couldn't hurt. I mean, look at what's happening with everything and these shows being pre-taped. Maybe that protects you,
Right. Now, let's go way back earlier tonight. Another backstage segment that I skipped over. And we're talking about when Paul Heyman came in with Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman, told the guys, just get out the cold. Let me handle this. And then on screen, we're seeing Austin Theory, Paul Heyman, and Austin have a conversation. Austin explains to everyone why he was wearing a mask. He wanted to show basically his intentions before people see his face, and that he's there to take. Now, he had lost sight of some things, but no longer. Robbie, was this promo needed because of the explanation of why Austin Theory was wearing a mask? Or was the explanation so minute that who gives a fuck?
This is going to sound bad because when we get to where we're going with it, I'm gonna give props, but truthfully, doing that, who gives a fuck? So it was like, and what was funny is like the way that they're trying to repackage Austin Theory is, okay, we're bringing him in like he's now a badass, and the issue I guess with it is, if you remember his character in NXT, his character when he got brought up, he was kind of like that goofball, and stuff like that. So now we're trying to repackage him as now a badass. Was it now you're like, okay, let's see, so that was kind of where I was at with it. You're trying to repackage him, but we know him as, okay, he was nothing but a goofball.
Right. Grizzle?
Excuse me. I like Austin Theory. I don't think they needed the promo. It was just a subtle thing of why. But either way, they could have went either way with it. I didn't mind the promo. It made sense. I wore a mask so you could see what I did before you saw who I was. It could make sense, and it kind of leads to this, Braun and Bronson being a little hesitant about wanting him to be a part of this, and it makes sense. Either way.
Right. I didn't mind it either. I am an Austin Theory guy, or a fan of him. I think that if pushed and booked the correct way, putting in the proper storylines, that Austin Theory can be a very, very big future star with the company. I think that he definitely has the ability to be a future main eventer. Robbie, agree, disagree?
Yeah, if you push them right,
Right.
You got to hope they don't drop the ball on them. But yeah, if they push them right, I could see it.
Right. Now, why I wanted to go over that backstage segment, because it added, in order for this next segment to make sense, which we've seen Paul Heyman and Bron Breakker talking of, actually, I'm sorry. We went before that happened, a Bron Breakker vignette ad hyping the upcoming World Heavyweight Championship against CM Punk in 2 weeks. I like the vignette. I don't think CM Punk's going to drop the title in 2 weeks to Bron Breakker. I think Bron Breakker is definitely a future world champion. I don't think it's going to happen just yet. Grizzle, your thoughts on the vignette?
The vignette was all right, but I agree with you. I don't think Punk's going to lose it yet, but Braun is going to be a champion at some point. I still want to see Braun win the Rumble and go on to reign to Mania and,
right,
get that title. And we might see that this year coming up. Who knows?
Right. I agree, because I would prefer to see the title with the hopes that because it was on WrestleMania and how big WrestleMania is, I can see them bringing out his dad and his uncle. I think the fans would lose their shit if those two appeared on WrestleMania, just to be at the ring with Bron Breakker just for support. Robbie?
No, I totally agree, and I agree with you. I don't think they're dropping it to him in a couple weeks.
Right.
I don't foresee that happening. I I think he's one of the guys that will hopefully take and ball and run with the company and carry the company down the road. But I don't think they're going to drop it to him in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Terry says Punk loses at WrestleMania. Look, I don't want Bron Breakker to win it on the January 5th edition of Raw in 2 weeks, because I think that would be giving away a moment that should be much, much bigger than just winning it on Raw, which would be him winning it at WrestleMania. I think that for someone like Bron Breakker, who's definitely a guy that's going to be a main eventer, I think that would be more of an appropriate moment for him to win the title, would be at a WrestleMania. Or, am I way off? Is Bron Breakker, if he wins it at Raw, that's still going to be a major thing to happen for him. And we don't need that WrestleMania moment. Robbie?
No, I think the WrestleMania is a bigger moment. So, I mean, I could see it holding out till WrestleMania,
Right.
For the bigger moment. And I think you'll see his dad and his uncle there too.
Right.
Like you said, that big moment. Like if his dad and uncle are here on January 5th or whatever, it's a big moment, but not on the stage that WrestleMania is.
Right. Grizzle?
It's got to be Mania. It's, this kid should not be christened like the next future star of the company on a Raw on Netflix. It needs to be at a Mania. Just if anything, Mania has more of a moment behind it.
Right.
Jey Uso winning title from Gunther wouldn't have been the same if he won it on Raw. It's that moment, like they call it, the Mania moment. And that's,
Right.
If you're going to establish your future star, it needs to be a Mania, not a Raw.
Right. 100% agreed. And next we go to that backstage segment where Bron Breakker, Paul Heyman, and Bronson Reed are talking. Breakker, Bronson Reed's kind of hesitant, and Paul Heyman reminds them, Bronson Reed, where were you at a year ago? Bron Breakker, where are you at a year ago? Versus, look at where you're at now, basically because of me, Paul Heyman. We find out that we're going to have that tag team main event match, Austin Theory and Bronson Reed tagging together tonight. Now, after Paul Heyman reminded these two of where they were at a year ago versus now, he also said, though, if Austin Theory doesn't deliver tonight, whip his ass. Grizzle, your thoughts on that backstage moment? Promo.
No issue with it. I love what they're doing with Division.
Right.
I have no issue with it. And yeah, like Paul said, everything. And like you said, where were you at this time? What were you doing? It's a chance here. But if Theory fucks up, right, well, then he's going to get what's coming to him. So, because I don't think Theory's a part of the Vision yet.
No,
I think he has to prove that somehow.
Right, Robbie.
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. It was fine. It served its purpose.
Right. Now, did you guys notice, though, when it comes, I don't think Austin Theory, being this mask guy, quite worked out the way WWE hoped. I think that WWE hoped it would be this massive thing. Look, guys, the fans just aren't reacting to Austin Theory right now the way I think WWE wanted them to react to him. Robbie, go to you. Do you agree, or is that just me? Because they sure don't sound like they're popping for Austin Theory, either with cheers or boos. They're kind of just,
Yeah, I mean, no, because we all kind of talked about it even when they were kind of trying to expose who was the guy behind the mask. And the way I look at it, you guys are Theory fans. He was okay. I'm not saying I was invested in him. So that oh shit moment, hearing the name, it just wasn't that oh shit moment for me. The one that when I heard you guys talking about it, had they used him in that spot, it would have been an oh shit moment, because I wouldn't have saw that coming with Montez Ford.
Right.
That would have been more my oh shit moment. I would have went, wow, it didn't. But now hearing that name that they were kind of going back and forth, now I know who the hell went over the cage that quick. So it was him.
Right.
I mean, it makes sense that out of those, out of everybody that was talking, who could get over that cage that quick? So it was Ford. But Theory wasn't that oh shit moment for me,
Yep.
It was more why.
Right. Terry says mask guy would have worked better if it would have been Orton. I mean, the fans would come unglued if it would have been Orton. Now, I personally believe that the direction that this is going to go in, that will get Austin the support of the fans, believe it or not, is I think the vision is going to turn on Austin Theory. I don't think he's going to be officially, well, he's not official yet. I think he's going to be led to believe that he's going to be joining the division. And I personally believe that they're going to turn it on Austin Theory. And I think that may actually get the fans to get Austin Theory that pop with those cheers, because now he is fighting against the vision. Or maybe I'm way off, Grizzle.
Well, there's already people who have that theory that, who have the story that Austin Theory was put in there it was a Seth Rollins setup. They've already suggested that one. Is it Seth Rollins sent him in to kind of infiltrate the vision? But, no, I mean, they could turn out. He may not be. Maybe Montez Ford will be. The mask guy being Orton, though, no. Because the way they're doing the vision now, it's up-and-coming guys.
Right, I was
Logan
going to say
Paul,
that.
so, yeah, Orton wouldn't have fit.
Orton's way too big. His light would have outshined everybody that's in the vision right now.
Any veteran wouldn't have worked, though, because it's obviously this group is supposed to be the young up-and-coming guys. It's Paul Heyman's vision of the future, so.
Right. Yeah, I think that this group reminds me a little bit. I think it was the Legacy with Triple H and Randy Orton.
Evolution.
Evolution. Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of Evolution. As far as the group. But here's a question for you guys before we go over the main event. When it's all said and done, who do you guys think the big star is going to be? The guy that's going to walk away that this faction actually help them rise to become the star that they're going to become? Obviously, for me, it's no brainer. It's Bron Breakker. Robbie?
No, totally agree with you, Bron Breakker.
Absolutely, Bron Breakker.
Yeah, 100%. Next, we go to Gunther walking to the match. I like what they're doing with Gunther right now. They're not bringing him out for these long-ass promos. He's going out there long enough just to continuously get the heat, have the fans just boo him out of the building, basically just calling John Cena a bitch, and then leaving. Now, CM Punk interrupted Gunther as we thought Gunther was going to cut a longer promo. For a moment, I'm like, oh, shit. Are we going to see CM Punk and Gunther, interjecting some type of a storyline? That didn't happen. Gunther just basically left the ring, mocking John Cena. With Rey Mysterio meeting him, they kind of went, mid-chest to, that was funny. Rey's so sharp, man. Gunther walked to the back, leading us to the main event. Rey Mysterio, CM Punk going against Bronson Reed and Austin Theory. I'll be honest, I'm surprised at the ending of this match a little bit. Yeah, it was a little bit of interference, I guess, but for the most part, Austin Theory beat Rey Mysterio clean. Grizzle?
This is my favorite match of the show.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought this match was great. And I Robbie said, I'm an Austin Theory fan. Austin Theory is obviously one of our guys from around here. He started off Texas and things like that. So it's kind of you like to see the local boys succeed. But he's also really talented. And yeah, you're right. He owned this match. Now, obviously, Ray and Punk are helping to make him look good and to put him over and all that. But no, it was a great match. The promo ahead before that, though, with Gunther. I love the Gunther promos because he's not having to do anything. He's not saying, I retire John Cena. He's just saying, I made John Cena tap like a little bitch. And everybody's booing the hell out of him. They're creating one of the biggest heels they could right now. And he doesn't have to do anything but say, I made Cena look like a bitch.
Right.
And I love it.
Yep.
They've set him up to face Mysterio, fed him up to face Punk, set him up to face AJ Styles, and all he has to do is just go and piss him off.
Right. What I like about this with Gunther is before he was involved with the whole John Cena storyline with retiring, John Cena's final match, Gunther was kind of walking that line of, is he going to be a heel? Is he going to be a face? Because fans were cheering Gunther. They were getting behind Gunther. And there was even some actions that Gunther did in previous Raws. That's like, ooh, it's kind of a babyface thing that he did. With him making John Cena tap out, there is zero doubt that he is being put in the place of being WWE's main heel. There's not really anybody cheering Gunther now. They're all booing him big time, Robbie, on both Gunther segment and the main event.
Okay, so the Gunther segment, I liked it. I mean, like you said, he's coming out. He doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to say anything. He mocks Cena, and that pisses him off even more. So he's that has just pushed his envelope as being the top heel in there. So hopefully it has a run for him for a while. But yeah, him not having to cut long 20-minute promos and stuff, him just basically walking out mocking Cena, or like you said, I made him tap and then getting pissed off. So that that just kind of pushed him over over the top, and which is cool because that's what you want to see out of your heel. So whoever came up with this, or Cena had a hand in it and stuff, they did a great job.
Now, Robbie, real quick before you go to the main event, something that I find just hilarious every time the fans do this is when the fans chant at Gunther, "You tapped out." Talking about the Uso match where he tapped, and I'm thinking to myself, guys, yeah, Gunther tapped out, but your Never Say Quit guy just tapped out as well. And that's why I find so funny them chanting "You tapped out." Sort of throw it out there. Go ahead, Robbie.
Okay. So in the match, and this is where I'm going to give your boy Theory props. He did come off as the badass, which was believable, from what I remember him in the past of just being that goofball, So it was good, it was like, okay, this is believable. He just came out there, had that, the way he worked, did his thing and stuff, was believable. And okay, maybe you did turn the corner and you're not that goofball and stuff, like the match, and then the way they finished it out, just kind of, we go back to the way we talked about the opener, the way that they're doing this with, week in, week out, Breakker spearing the shit out of Punk, just leads you to believe he ain't dropping the belt on January 5th. That Punk's walking out of there still as champion, because they're giving Bron if they stick to script, they're giving Bron all of his props now. And okay, we're going to push it and wait till, a big pay-per-view, which they should, you can see the writing on the wall. If they stick to script, Punk's still walking out January 5th, the champion.
Right. Yeah. And I agree that I was going to go after the post-match afterwards, that we've seen the rest of the division come out. Seemingly they approve of Austin Theory. He kind of passed that test. Bron Breakker, once again, destroying CM Punk. Grizzle, do you agree with Robbie? I know we kind of talked about it already, that, the way they're positioning this with Bron Breakker constantly destroying Punk, Raw after Raw, that obviously CM Punk is keeping the title.
Well, yeah, no, Punk's going to keep the title. They're letting Breakker get all the high spots on it, and then Punk's going to, vanquish the voice. So, no, it's all setting up, because unfortunately everything's predictable anymore. If they gave it to Breakker, that would be the shock right there, but that's not going to. Like I said, I want to see Breakker lose, get through Mania, and I want to see Breakker like dominate Rumble, like come in at number like 3 or 4 and just railroad through the whole thing. I want to see a dominant break. And then they have that 3 months to build this up where this is my last shot. This is my shot. This is my chance. I'm coming at you again. And then it gets his victory at Mania over Punk.
Right. Yeah. I agree.
That's kind of what I want.
And we'll wrap up with this, talking about Royal Rumble. It's, a month away. Right now, I mean, it wouldn't make any sense for anyone else to win except for Bron Breakker. Robbie, do you agree with that? Or is there someone that you could think of that, no, it would make more sense if this guy won instead?
The only other guy I could see doing it, but we don't know when he's coming back, would be Seth Rollins. So, and the problem, I think that, I think, this is my personal opinion, I just think Seth's probably their best, to me, the best worker, my opinion, their best worker. But the problem with Seth is he can't stay healthy, and you hate seeing that. So no, you have to go Bron Breakker.
Yeah, the only other person that might make sense would be if Roman Reigns came back and if he was in the Royal Rumble, just because he told both Cody and CM Punk he's coming after his title back, at one point. But again, if he brought Roman Reigns in to win the Royal Rumble, who would he pick? And really, it would still make more sense for Bron Breakker, though, because Roman Reigns could come in before WrestleMania at some point and just decide, though, I'm going after Cody. That's what the fans would want to see more, I think. And that's exactly what would happen. I would expect to see more of a Roman Reigns versus a Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania than Roman Reigns versus CM Punk at WrestleMania. Yeah, you can argue that it does make sense against CM Punk, the relationship, because of Paul Heyman, that was with them both. And because of all that shit that happened, I still think, though, it'd be Roman against Cody. Grizzle, your thoughts on that scenario?
They can just stick Roman wherever they fucking want to stick Roman.
Right.
So he doesn't need to win a Rumble. He doesn't need to win an Elimination Chamber. If they're going to put him in a match, that's what he'll do, is win a Rumble or Elimination Chamber. He just doesn't need it. Roman's at that point. I honestly don't want to see Roman versus Cody again. And I really don't want to see Roman versus CM Punk either.
Right.
Roman had his run. He was a champ for years. He's good. Yeah.
Robbie, we'll go with you next. And then, we'll end it because Grizzle needs to go rest up.
Okay. So then there's one other person you could see them, but I don't know, would you do it? I hope they don't do it, but you could bring in Brock Lesnar, one other person, and I forgot about Brock. Give him another, who knows where he's at in his career, how long he's going to be around still, but I could also see them giving him one final run.
Yeah, I hope not. But anyway, guys, this wraps up our recap of the December 22nd of Monday Night Raw. Please subscribe to the podcast. We will be back on a Friday. We won't be doing Thursday night AEW coverage. It is Christmas. So you all have a Merry Christmas. Robbie, Grizzle, you guys have a Merry Christmas, my friends.
You and your families, guys, have a great Christmas. Can I give one quick shout out?
Yeah,
it's okay, real quick. So he was a guest on the show. Get a hold of him, Sin Bodie. He did a Robbie Idol figure. I want to give him a big shout out. There we go. And we'll throw my book in there and look at the comparisons here. So look at that. He did a great job.
That is awesome. Somebody is good shit, people. Again, you guys have a Merry Christmas. Until then, we will see you guys Friday night.
You guys have a great Christmas.